Hi guys, we are starting our fourth pot holder in the 2024 Potholders Galore Crochet Along. Introducing the Lacy Dainty Potholder. This is a double thick pot holder that is crocheted in the round and uses the spider stitch, which is a really dense overlapping stitch, so you can use this safely in your kitchen. You can find the free written pattern linked in the description box below. Before we dive in, I just wanted to take a moment to feature a few of the beautiful pot holders in our crochet along so far. It was hard to choose only 6 to start. So let's show some love to Lori Woodward, Edie Maddox Torek, Janice Basinger, Julie Gilbert, Jill Rempel, and Georgette Bandon. I hope that I pronounced everything right, but if not, I apologize. I've loved seeing your pot holders so far, so if you'd like to share a picture of your finished make, you can do that in our Facebook group here. Now without further ado, let's get started. Alright guys, to start our pot holder, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to leave a nice long tail for weaving in our ends, and we're going to make a slip knot, place it on our hook, and tighten it up. Now we're going to chain 26, or if you'd like to make a custom size pot holder, you are going to just chain an even number until you're satisfied. Alright guys, to start round 1, we are going to skip the first chain beside our hook, and we're going to go into the second chain from our hook. So this one here, we're going to insert our hook under the top loop of the chain, and we're going to make a single crochet. Now mark this stitch with your stitch marker, going underneath both loops. And we're going to skip the next chain. We're going to go into the second chain, go underneath the top loop of the chain, make a single crochet, chain 2, followed by a second single crochet, all into that same chain. Skip the next chain and go into the second chain. Go underneath the top loop, and we're going to make a single crochet, chain 2, followed by a second single crochet, all into that same chain. And we're going to do this all the way across. Skip one chain, go into the next chain, make a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. Okay guys, we just have 2 chains left to work into, so we're going to skip this first one and we're going to go into that last chain, and we're going to make a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. So this is what round 1 looks like so far. At this point, we're going to rotate our work so that we can crochet along the bottom of our chain. So this is the stitch that we just made. This is our corner. So we're going to skip over that, and we're also going to skip one chain. So this one right here, this one is unworked, and we're going to go into the next chain. This one already has a stitch in it, so we're going to go into that chain, go underneath the bottom loop of the chain, and we're going to make a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. Again, we're going to skip over one chain. This one is unworked, there's nothing in it, and we're going to go into the next chain that already has a stitch in it, go underneath the bottom loop of the chain, and make your single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. Again guys, skip the next chain, this one's unworked, and go into the chain that already has that stitch in it, and make your single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. We want to do this all the way across until we get to our last chain. Okay guys, we're nearing the end of round 1. We just have a couple more spaces to work into. So we have this one right here. So we're going to make our single crochet, chain 2, single crochet again. And then we also have where our first single crochet was. So it's a little hard to see, but basically it's this chain right here that we worked into with this single crochet. So we're going to insert our hook into the bottom of that chain, and we're going to complete our corner by making a single crochet, chain 2. And at this point, I want you guys to mark that last chain that you made. So that second chain, mark that with your stitch marker. And we're going to remove our stitch marker from this first single crochet. We're going to insert our hook into that stitch going underneath both loops, and we're going to make a slip stitch. So we're going to yarn over, pull through the stitch, and pull through the loop on your hook. That makes a slip stitch and closes the round. So this is what round 1 looks like. Alright guys, to start round 2, we're going to turn our work so that the back side of round 1 stitches are facing us, and we're going to chain 1 to start. Now this beginning chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to find our stitch marker, and this just marks that last chain 2 space that we made. So we're going to insert our hook into that space. If you just tug on your work and separate it a little bit, you can see that space. So just remove your stitch marker, insert your hook into that space, and make a single crochet. And we're going to mark this stitch with our stitch marker. Now we're going to find the next chain 2 space. So you can always find the chain 2 space between your 2 single crochets. It sticks up really far. It's this guy right here. So you're going to insert your hook into that chain 2, and we're going to make a single crochet, chain 2, followed by a second single crochet, all into that same space. Now find your next chain 2. Look between these 2 single crochets. It should be sticking up right in the middle, and make your single crochet, chain 2. We're going to do this all the way around. So we're going to find our next chain 2 space between these 2 single crochets and make a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. Okay guys, we're coming up on our last chain 2 space. It's this one right here. We know that because our first single crochet is right here with that beginning chain 2 space that we made. So we only have this one left. So going into this space, we're going to make a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. Now, when we get to our first chain space, with our first single crochet, we're going to just kind of tug on our stitch marker, and so that we can see that space that we made our single crochet into. So we're going to insert our hook into that same space, and we're going to complete our corner by making a single crochet, chain 2. Now I want you guys to mark that last chain that you made. And we're also going to remove this stitch marker from our first single crochet of the round, and we're going to insert our hook underneath both loops of that stitch, yarn over, pull through the stitch, and pull through the loop on your hook, and that just makes a slip stitch and closes the round. So this is what round 2 looks like. Alright guys, to start round 3, we're just going to turn our work so that the back side of row 2 stitches are facing us. And we're going to chain 1. Again guys, that beginning chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to find our stitch marker. Our stitch marker marks that last chain 2 that we made. If you just tug on your stitch marker, you can see that big space or gap there. That's where we're going to insert our hook. So just remove your stitch marker, we're going to insert our hook into that chain 2 space and make our first single crochet of the round. Mark this with your stitch marker, and now we're going to find our next chain 2 space. So the chain 2 space is always between these 2 single crochets. It's right here. So we're going to insert our hook and we're going to make a single crochet, chain 2, followed by a second single crochet, all into that same space. And we're going to find our next chain 2 space and do the same. So make a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, all into that same space. And we're going to do this all the way around. Okay guys, we're at the end of round 3. We've just worked into our last chain 2 space. So we're going to find where our first single crochet of the round is, marked by our stitch marker, and we're just going to pull up on that stitch so that we can see that space that we worked that stitch into. So we're going to insert our hook into that same space that we made our single crochet in, and we're going to complete our corner by making a single crochet, chain 2. Now with your stitch marker, you're going to mark that last chain that you made, and we're also going to remove the stitch marker from that first single crochet. Now insert your hook into that single crochet, going underneath both loops, and make a slip stitch to close the round. So this is what round 3 looks like. Alright guys, to start round 4, we're going to turn our work and we are going to chain 1 to start. Again, the beginning chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find where our stitch marker is, and this just marks that last chain 2 space that we made. If we pull up on it, we can see that big hole or gap, and that's where we're going to work into. So just remove your stitch marker. Insert your hook into that space, and we're going to make a single crochet. Mark this with your stitch marker. We're going to find the next chain 2, so right here. We're going to insert our hook and we're going to make a single crochet, chain 2, followed by a second single crochet, all into that same space. And we're going to do this in each chain 2 space around. So make your single crochet, chain 2, single crochet into all of those chain 2 spaces. Okay guys, so we've arrived at that first single crochet that we made. If we just lift it up somewhat and kind of stretch our work, we can see that we worked into this chain space here. So we're going to insert our hook into that same space that we made our single crochet in, and we're going to complete our corner by making a single crochet, chain 2. Now at this point we're going to mark the last chain that we made, and we're going to remove the stitch marker from that first single crochet. We're going to insert our hook into that stitch, going underneath both loops, and make your slip stitch to close the round. So this is what our side seam looks like, but this is what round 4 looks like. And as you guys can see, it is starting to fold up and make a pouch, which is exactly what we want. Alright guys, it's time to close our potholder. So as you guys can see, this is definitely a smaller version of what yours will look like. So you want to make sure that you're facing the outside of your potholder. If you turn your work and you're along the inside, then just make sure to kind of turn your work back or flip your work inside out, whatever you have to do to make sure that you are starting along the outside. So this is where we've just joined. And as you guys can see, this is our chain 2 and this is our single crochet. We're going to skip over this chain 2 space entirely and we're going to work into our first single crochet. So we're going to chain 1, we're going to insert our hook into this first single crochet stitch, going underneath both loops, and then just kind of tilt your work to the back so that we can see the back side of our potholder. And you're going to find that first matching back single crochet. Go underneath both loops and you want to make a single crochet. Okay, and that just joins those 2 stitches together. So from here on out, we are going to be skipping over our single crochets and we're just going to be working into our chain 2 spaces like before. So we're going to find our next chain 2 space, which is right here between these 2 single crochets. Insert your hook and we're going to find the matching chain 2 space on the back, so right here, and we're going to make 2 single crochets into this space. Okay, and now again we're going to find our next chain 2 space on the front and we're going to find the matching chain 2 space at the back. And again, we're going to make 2 single crochets into those spaces to join them. And we're going to do this all the way across until we get to our last chain 2 space. Alright guys, when you get to the end, there should be 1 single crochet remaining on the front side and 1 single crochet on the back. It can be a little hard to see, but just insert your hook under that first stitch going underneath both loops and just poke your hook through the back. There you go. And make 1 single crochet. So now you've crocheted across the top of your potholder and it's time to make a chain circle. So we are going to chain 13, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. To close the chain circle, we're going to find the last single crochet that we made and we're going to insert our hook underneath the top loop. We're also going to insert our hook underneath the outer leg, so this part right here, kind of like we're going on a diagonal. Pull your chain circle back so it's at the back of your work, yarn over, pull through those loops, and you also want to pull through the loop on your hook, and that just makes a slip stitch. Now to fasten off, we're just going to pull up on the loop on our hook and make a nice long tail. Trim it and pull tight. Thread your yarn needle with your tail and insert your hook into that single crochet stitch going through the inside of the potholder and weave it through a few stitches and then pull it out the front. And that just tightens up your chain circle really nicely, and at this point you can make a knot to secure it, weave it through a few more stitches, and then when you're ready, trim it. Alright guys, this completes our pot holder. I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below and I will do my best to answer them. This is just a reminder that you're welcome to share a picture of your finished pot holder in our Facebook Crochet Along group here. It's also linked in the description box below. I hope you all have a wonderful day and I will see you in 2 weeks on Wednesday, August 21st for our 5th pot holder.